There's something in these clouds, y'all. Peep this shit.
Now that's a pretty interesting video. I definitely recommend going and watching it. I can't be sure of the authenticity of it, because how can we be sure of the authenticity of anything today, right? I mean, how can we've ever been sure of the authenticity of anything, especially when you look into everything as a whole and none of it actually has continuity with the stories that were told of any of it, when really actually studied and observed beyond what the, mainstream, whatever controlled information stream. That's all the mainstream is the controlled information stream, and that information, I think, is altered to make us perceive something that isn't there. But I'd like to talk about the weirdest thing I've ever seen in a cloud. So I was at this animation and gaming convention, and I think this was day 2 out of 3, and I'd been up all night, and I was drinking a little bit of moonshine. I was walking around with some moonshine. I was dressed up like Jack Sparrow, so I had to have the moonshine. I had to have a drink with me because that's part of the costume. I wasn't like wasted or anything. Like, I was dancing, and there was like a rave at night, and then the next morning, I'm walking through. It's in a hotel, so like it was awesome, dude. I've gotten to do some really cool things in my life, but I've also experienced more weird things than I've done cool things, I think. So it's the next day. The sun's out. It's probably like, I don't know, 7 or 8 in the morning, maybe a little later, and I'm walking through the lobby, like checking out the different booths and just seeing people's costumes and stuff. It was a super fun time. If you've never been to an animation and gaming convention, a con, yeah, I definitely recommend it. So anyway, I'm walking through the lobby, and it's got these massive, like, I want to say like 1.5 to 2-story windows in it. Probably 2-story windows on the front side of the building. And I am just like looking at the sky, and I'm like watching this one cloud in the sky. There's one cloud and this perfect blue sky, and just this one big puffy cloud. And I'm just looking at it, and it seemed like, I don't know, like kind of like if you ever like had 3D glasses on at one of the movie theaters, how it like it's kind of 3D, but it's like not really 3D. I don't know how really to describe that, but if you've seen that, you know what I mean. It kind of looked like that, and I was like, that's weird. And I was just staring at this cloud, and all of a sudden I was just like kind of in this trance state, like really just super aligned with my inner self. And this was probably 10 years ago almost. I'd say about 10 years ago, almost on the dot. And I'm watching this cloud, and all of a sudden this like swirl comes out of it, and then all of a sudden this whole cloud just starts swirling and swirling, and now it's like swirling and coming at me, and it's coming at me exactly at the point where I'm standing in this hotel. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, there's no way this is happening. Like, this is wild. And I noticed that like it's getting closer and closer and closer, and then I realized like, oh, it's coming straight at me, like me specifically. And this swirl coming from this cloud, the whole cloud is like this spiral. All of a sudden, it gets to the glass on the at the hotel, and it touches the glass, and then it comes through the glass, and I'm like, oh shit. And I'm just like standing there, and all of a sudden, like, I can feel the point where it's gonna like basically like impact, and it was right here. It was coming, and right before it hit, I got a phone call, and it stopped. My phone was ringing in my pocket, and it stopped, and I didn't know what was going on, but basically I chose to answer the phone call, and when I did that, it literally reversed. It just went and zoomed back up into the sky, turned into a cloud. I answered the phone, and it was one of the most traumatic phone calls of my entire life. I'm not going to really go into that, what that was all about. That was another even more strange experience. But yeah, that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen when it comes to clouds. I've seen lots of other weird things about the sky, the clouds in particular, that's the only thing I've ever seen that was like, oh, that's weird. I mean, I've seen things go into clouds and not come out. I've seen airplanes making clouds and then like beams of light following them. I've seen other things, but just clouds specifically, that's the strangest thing I've ever seen with clouds. Yeah. Who knows though? Who knows? It's for entertainment purposes only. Like these stories are all just made up and for fun. Yeah.